Before we get into the presentation, I would just like everyone's patience. I understand change can be difficult because I found a form on the old form dating back from 2008, which was 18 years ago. So that they've been using the same form at least since that far back. That's the oldest form I've ever had turned in. But I'm sure it goes even further back than that. So there are some key changes, as you probably have identified, since you did receive one a few minutes ago. But we're going to talk through some of those and answer any questions you might have also. So the Department of Labor WH 347 form is used to promote clarity and compliance. The updates reflect modern terminology, guidance for electronic signatures, and streamlined reporting for fringe benefits. These changes aim to reduce confusion, improve consistency across contractors, and make the form more intuitive for users. We would like for people to start using these for their projects moving forward from today. Key changes include clearer instructions, new columns for fringe benefit reporting, updated terms, electronic signature standards. It's important to note that scanned or photocopied signatures are not sufficient. There must be an electronic process for verifying the identity. Contractors need to ensure their processes support this level of compliance. Employers need to update internal processes and train staff accordingly. And we do have contractors already using the new WH 347 because if you go out to the Department of Labor's website since the beginning of the year, they have removed the old form. And the new one is the only thing you will find on their website. So if you have a contractor or subcontractor who goes to the Department of Labor, all they're going to be able to access is the new form. The revised form preserves most of the original content, but restructures it into clearer, more user-friendly sections. On the next few slides, we are going to review what is new about the form and the differences. All key contract and payroll identifiers remained on the new wage, but there is a new wage determination number field, which helps link the payroll records to the prevailing wage requirements. On this, I do recommend putting the federal wage number and state because our offices enforce both of those, so they're both applicable to the situation. You will also see a box to check for the submission of final DBRA certified payrolls form, which is a new one. And then there's also boxes to check if you're the prime contractor or subcontractor, which I believe is new also. The information under column 1 of the old form has been broken out into separate columns on the new form. The number of withholdings and exemptions columns from the old form has been completely removed from the new form. Worker entry number was added to the new form, and it just consists of the employee list. So for example, if it's employee 1 listed for the first row, then it should be entry number 1. Second employee would be entry number 2. Middle initial column has also been added to the new form. And then journey worker or registered apprentice column was also added. So you should write J for journey worker and RA for registered apprentice, or meaning they are ongoing an apprenticeship program with a registered institution. The remainder of the information maintained in this section remains the same, including the worker's last name, the worker's first name, the worker's identifying number, which is a unique identifier such as the last 4 of their social or their employee last 4 ID number. The labor classification also remains the same. All areas under the section remain the same, except the slightly positioning adjustments of the straight time and overtime hours. What they did is they basically flipped them. So that could take a little time getting adjusted, but they've been flipped. The new form added 2 columns, the total fringe benefit credit column and the payment in lieu of fringe benefit column. Total fringe benefit column is the total gross fringe benefits credit earned across all hours worked within the week. Example, $20 in fringes times 30 hours would be $600. Payments in lieu of fringe benefits is the cash amount a worker earned instead of fringe benefits. This is separate from the base rate earned in cash. The new form added 2 columns. One second, I'm on this wrong slide, sorry. You will notice they moved the gross amount earned column, which is the amount of wages earned for while working on the project being reported on the form. They also added a gross amount earned for all work. The sum of all earnings across the base hourly rate infringes for all projects this employee is contracted on or would be reflected in their pay stub. The deductions for all work remain the same besides an addition of all other potential deductions authorized by the employee. If the amount is particular to a single deduction, it should be described under the additional remarks on page 2 of the form, which we'll cover later. If there are several deductions under the other category, example, life insurance, pension, etc., an addendum for other deductions must be submitted, which itemizes each deduction with a description and amount for each. Our office also supplies you with a other deductions form, which will need to be filled out. You will also notice a new column for net pay to worker for all worked changes from net wages to paid for the week. The revised notice remains the same. Contractors of their legal responsibilities under the Copeland Act, and the payroll must be completed, submitted weekly, and signed under penalty of perjury. Both versions contain a statement of compliance, but the second version separates the statements with certifications of proper payment, accurate payroll, obligation to supply records and work performed, apprentice, fringe benefits, and deductions. Most of the information from the top of page 1 is carried over to the top of page 2 with the exception of the wage determination number. They also removed the prime contractor and subcontractor and business address from page 1, and they added a certifying official's name and title. Now we will cover what the boxes are all about. Box 1 is certification of proper payment. Box 2 is certification of accurate payroll and obligation to supply records. Box 3 is certification of work performed. Box 4 is certification of apprentice. If apprentices are employed during the work week, the programs that they are registered under, that body that the program is registered with, must be registered with the Department of Office of Apprenticeship or State Apprenticeship Agency, and for the name of the labor classification they're working under. If not applicable, there's no apprentice on this that week, just put NA and leave the section blank. Be consistent and accurate in your fringe reporting. Each worker should be listed separately and should have their own total hourly credit amount. If you're claiming an hourly credit for contributions to benefit plans, funds, or programs, this box should be checked with the following information. So like an example would be funded, and that would be Anthem, which is a health insurance company. You would enter the plan number on the, so you do the plan name, which would be Anthem, the type would be health insurance, and then you would put the plan number, which I assume you get from the policy, and this one would be considered a funded benefit. Funded fringe benefits include things like health care insurance, pensions, contributions to a retirement plan that the contractor makes provision for. Unlike funded fringe benefits, unfunded benefits are paid by the contractor in full. Examples of unfunded benefits include vacation or sick leave accrued and paid through the payroll. Per federal grant cost principles 2 CFR 200, fringe benefits must be reasonable, applicable, and consistently applied to be allowable under the grant. Funded benefits are usually easier to justify and document. Additional remarks is an additional space for information on deductions, hourly costs of fringe benefits, or explanations. 3 boxes have been added to the section: date, telephone number, and email address. The statement of compliance must be signed by the contractor or subcontractor or their agent who is paid for supervise the payment of the workers under the contract during the weekly time period covered by the form. Enter the phone number and email address of this individual who's signing the statement and date. Thanks to our staff member, Tiffany, you will not find a fillable form anywhere on the web but our website. So we have both pages of these forms have been made fillable, so it will make it easier for your contractor to comply with our new expectations. And that's the second page showing that it's fillable.